Assalamu alaikum. London Living with Rizwan Rashid, and your host Rizwan Rashid is here with another set of professional development, all about professional public speaking. Yeah, you heard me before with Dr. Faz. Last time we were talking about how it is important to have the need, especially for our kids, and then professionals who move from thousands of miles from their home countries, whether it's Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and moved here. Now they are in professional career and wanting to excel to the next level, how they can really project and communicate, that is the key. And this is why we wanted to have this program dedicated in professional development. So today we're going to have the conversation with Dr. Faz about the professional public speaking. What are the things that could fear us? What are the things, how we can prepare us? How do we present to the people and how we engage the audience, whether it's one-on-one or 1-on-10 or 1-in-100, whether it's a board meeting, whether it's out there in a public forum, in person or virtually. So we'll kind of talk about this because Dr. Faz, who is the president of Learn to Grow Rich, president of Worldwide Success Academy, and executive director from John Maxwell Academy, joining me, and we are going to discuss all these areas in depth to help you take to the next level. Please help me welcome our Dr. Faz. Welcome, Dr. Faz.
Thank you, Rizwan. Thanks for having me. And it's a really honor and pleasure for me to be on your show.
Thank you so much for joining, and I truly appreciate for you for coming together, and especially about this professional public speaking. As I was talking about that London Living with Rizwan, we are going to have this discussion on a professional scale every month, and this is our second episode talking about the communication and importance of it. Let me ask you this. What is the importance of public speaking in your eyes for kids who are going into the university, professionals who are seeking an employment, or professionals who are excelling or trying to excel in their business?
That's an awesome question. I always ask, and it's not about just the public speaking. Public speaking is the one way of a communication. The money, truly, it's part of communication, and communication is such an important thing in our life. That's why we are investing our time, energy, and to learn about that all the time. And how many of any? I mean, I ask all this question in any my seminar and workshop, that how many of you interact with people? Obviously, everyone. So when you interact with people, what do? You do your communication part, and communication is the key. Now, public speaking is a little refined form of communication, obviously, but again, it's a learnable skill. You can learn at any point of your life. You can learn. You can become a better communicator. You can become a better speaker. Now, why it's important? Like, obviously, we have to interact with. We are a human being is a social animal.
Mm-hmm.
To socialize with others, you need to communicate. There is no other means to to socialize with any other. So if we are not social, then we are only animal. Keep in mind. So as a human being, we need to communicate, and when we need to communicate, we learn how to speak well. So that's a part. Now, public speaking itself is a vast and uh, extensive subject to talk about. Like there are so many kinds of public speaking or speaking, you can say. We have 5 levels, which we will talk later on. But I mean, these are whether you're looking for a job,
Yeah.
whether you have an existing job, or you're trying to leave your family, or you're trying to leave your community, or whatever you do, regardless of your profession. If you are a doctor, you are an attorney, you are an engineer, doesn't matter. You need to communicate and you need to speak. And when you speak, you have to speak it right. That's all public speaking is all about. Now, what level you would like to learn? Where do you want to go? It's a huge subject. We can talk about different levels later on. But yeah, I mean, that's the most important. Like Warren Buffett, the richest person in America nowadays, and he holds this whole Wall Street. He tells that if only one quality, if I have to find someone to work for me, is going to be the communication. Same thing Winston Churchill said. The best of the best quality you can have is to become a good orator. So how important these things are. These are the world leaders who are telling you to learn a better communication way and learn how to speak well. So let's see what other questions you have, and we'll go from there. But it's a vast subject. We can talk
Absolutely,
hours and hours.
absolutely, absolutely. I know with your wealth of information, I do wanted to really explore a few of the things, but as you mentioned, whether you're a professional or a business owner or even a community member, you have to know how to communicate. I remember back in the days when I was in a corporate world, uh, one of our systems shut down and CEO called on an emergency meeting and everybody was called and I was sitting in that too. And they asked the IT manager, what's happening? Our system is down, our email is hacked, and our sales system is not functioning properly. We are losing millions of dollars. And the IT manager showed up in that conference room and said, yeah, I got it. I'll get it fixed. CEO asked, how? What happened? How are you going to fix it? He said, don't worry, I will get it fixed. And he left the room. I was sitting right next to the CEO, and CEO turned over to the HR manager and said, I want another IT manager who can really communicate. And this is where, and I'm sure the IT manager knew what needed to be done, but he wasn't able to communicate. And this is what the most important part comes into play. Now, Dr. Faz, as we are talking about the professional public speaking itself is the number one fear in the world. What do you say about that? Because people do not want to stand out and speak about it, do not feel like words, their heart palpitation goes up. What happens with this fear?
Yeah, that's a definitely number one fear in the life. Most of the people have. I mean, even worse than death. People, I mean, because it's just a psychological situation with people. Because once they ask to come up and say something in front of people, everything goes dark in front of them. It's all blank. It's all black. So it's a process. But again, I mean, to overcome on that fear is always to overcome on any fear in your life. You have to do it. There is no other way without doing it, and you can overcome. No, so you have to do it. You have to face it. First few times you are going to have a little challenge. Yes, of course you are. You will be going through, but after that you will be a lot better to. If somebody tells you that he doesn't get nervous even after speaking thousands of times, he's lying. You
Uh-huh.
still have a little fear. But the only thing is difference between him and a new being is he learned how to overcome so quick, which you can't even feel as an audience. So we all get a little this fear, and I've been speaking for a long time, and almost after 3,000-4,000 times I spoke yet. And still, when I walk towards the stage, I get my throat gets dry, and I feel like but the only whatever I learned through my experience is how to overcome it quickly so nobody can feel it. So we all have this fear, but it's not the fear which you can't overcome. You have to overcome with there are certain practices and there are certain basically rules to follow, and then you will see a lot less stress on you. Unfortunately, everybody gets so much stressed when they call upon for these things, and they get nervous and they get confused. But you have to follow certain rules and principles. It's a learnable skill. It's purely learnable skill. Nobody born with that. If somebody said he's a born natural speaker, nobody was a born or natural speaker.
Mhm.
He took like 11 months to say the first clear word from his mouth. The person who you're talking about, whoever you think that he's a natural, he took 14 months to stand up by himself. And how many times he fell down prior to that. So we all go through the same process, but it's learnable skill. It's there. It's available for everyone.
And I second that thought. Anxiety really comes on it, and physiology always has a part in it, because some people are anxious, some people are there, and especially in public speaking, it just comes in. And what Dr. Faz had, this is kind of a really, when I coach people, I actually say, when you're nervous, when you have that trembling voice, your throat is this, because it actually really reflects that you are speaking through your heart. So, and as a professional speaker, this is kind of a really an asset. In the beginning, it feel like a threat, but it is an asset. One of the other fear, what I found most people are, they think, or they wanted to be exactly as a professional speaker. They just watch on a TEDx speaker. They want to be exactly with that. If they are not like that, they said, "Oh my God, how people will see me? It will affect my credibility, so I will not speak at all." The other one is situation, like, the lack of experience, or degree of valuation, or status difference. People think that, my boss is sitting in the meeting, how do I look like it? Or when I present new ideas, may I get rejected, or new audience. So if you've been presenting in front of your office, or your friends, but now you are in a different setting, then you say, okay, I do not know these people. Then that's fear comes into the play. But more important, what Dr. Faz said, and I'm going to really go back into this, it's a skill. It's a skill you can learn each day, and then you step on it every single day going forward. If you can learn it, you can really nail it. Now, in order to nail it, now the next part, Dr. Faz, most people wanted to come in and ask you, how do I prepare? I mean, I want to talk about on a cause for community. There's some things happening in community. There is a new presentation happening in the work, or I wanted to dress something at a marriage, like, and at a wedding, I wanted to dress. How do I prepare myself and my content?
Again, it's a very good question. First of all, like I said, in the communication, the basic rule of communication is keep it simple. Keep it simple
Mm-hmm.
so you can have more clarity in your message. Unfortunately, what happens when we think that public speaker is a person who's going to talk a lot of flowery language and this and that, basically, no, that's not public speaking. Public speaking, you have to have a clarity what you would like to convey. And if you are not conveying that message, if you are not communicating it right, it doesn't matter how good you are.
Mm-hmm.
You are still a poor speaker. So there are so many like levels of, like you just said. So the first level I say, which in my lectures and I have when I do my presentation, and I will show it next time in any program. We will go through that with our viewers. That the first level is called avoidant. The people who wants to avoid speaking.
Right.
If you ask them, can you please? Oh no, next time, please let me go right now, because they just don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they are avoidant speakers to me. Then the next level, just like you said right now, they are reluctant speakers. For example, they have no choice now. You're a best man. Now you have to talk about your friend's wedding or something, or somebody died in your family. You have to speak there. Or your boss asks you to do the presentation. You have no choice. Otherwise, you can lose your job. So that's a reluctantly you have to now speak, which is worse than avoidant, because avoidant, you didn't have at least any opinion from anyone so far. Now you got opinion that you are the worst speaker because you were not good enough. But my point is that's a reluctant. But third level is called public speaker. Now, public speaker doesn't mean that he is a good speaker. Again, keep in mind, public means he's speaking in public, but he may be a worse speaker. And you see a lot of those out. They just stand up and start talking and speaking, and nobody wanted to see them, and nobody wanted to hear them, and nobody's there, home there. Nobody. They people are just looking at their phones and doing texting while they are speaking. So they are public speaker with no worth. They are worthless public speakers. Then there is another level which is called professional public speaker.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think, oh, here is my cup of tea right there. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's not even that too. Because if you see the teachers, you see in our culture Maulvis, you see our pastors, they all are getting paid. So
Yeah.
they are professional, but they suck most of the time. They don't know how to speak, but they do because they are getting paid still. So they are professional and they are public speaker, but it doesn't mean they are too good to hear, I mean, or to follow them. So my point is,
Not all of them.
yeah, most of, like I
Most.
said, then next level is called world-class speakers, which are the great speakers. Everybody wants, like you say, TEDx. So
Mm-hmm.
these are world-class speakers. That's why people are watching all over the world, these people.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to become like that. So you have to go through different stages and different trainings and different practices because you cannot become right off the bat, off the cuff like that. No. If you see the same speaker which you are inspired of, or you see the same speaker who you are admired for, I mean, you see their opening when they started speaking. Every master was a disaster. Believe me or not, if he was not a bad speaker, he can't be a good speaker, period. He must be the person who was the worst speaker when he started. That's why he's too good now. So my point is you have to start from somewhere and the starting point is going to be worst. You are going to really hate yourself if you watch your own video, but that's the way it starts.
Mm-hmm.
So start to be perfect, not perfect to be start.
Wonderful. Dr. Faz, that I love you this line. Every master was a disaster one. And I really, really appreciate the 5 levels of different speaking. And folks, if you are listening to this, you must have figured it out. Writing for the stage and writing for the page is a whole different thing. So your words, um, if you really want to concentrate them, they probably would be boring. They were gonna have those. I mean, no matter what facts you have, but if it doesn't come through you by tapping into your passion, what you really want to talk about it. It doesn't matter, and this is where you want it when you organize your content, when you write the content. It has to be in such a way. And Dr. Faz said, from professional to world class speaker, you have to understand what we call usually in our training, in our coaching, we talk about 3 I's. You have to use the 3 I concept: inform, influence, and inspire. And when you have that kind of thing in your talk, that you wanted to inform them, you're going to inspire them, and then you're going to let them take that action by influencing them to do something different. This is very crucial. Dr. Faz, you mentioned in world-class speakers, you have a training that can help people get to that phase, start from professionals rather than avoid, go from avoidance phase and come to the professional, to the world class. Give us a brief intro of that training.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we are talking about world-class speakers or TEDx speakers or TEDx talks and all that, which are internationally well-known people now,
Mm-hmm.
how they became that, we have to study their journey. So what we did in this whole program, we took 26 different steps which you
Mm-hmm.
need to become a professional world-class speaker. And we analyzed that.
Mm-hmm.
That what are the exact 26 steps everybody who wants to become a world-class speaker should go through. And in that, we dissected their whole speeches
Mm-hmm.
and one step at a time, and then you can watch them and we can give you the analysis and we can practice the same thing in our own speeches which we learned through that specific step. So this is a whole process of almost 26 weeks which we offer,
Mm-hmm.
in which we walk you through those 26 steps
Mhm.
with your own speech,
Right.
to put all those factors in your speech. So, like you said, I mean, this is a 6 month training, in other words,
Yeah.
26 weeks, because we do once a week. So, 26 weeks, you can join us and you can learn and you can practice, you can rehearse, and you can talk. And we have a mentoring program along with that. And at the same time, we do some, if you make your own videos, so we can critic friendly criticism, whatever we can give you, and we can get you a little fine tuning and touch ups, how you can make it better. And that's how we train people. And in that, we chose the world top most speaker, like John C. Maxwell, who's my mentor, who's my guru. And I
Mhm.
work with that company as an executive director. And my personal coach is Radi Galbraith, who's one of the best coach in the world,
Mhm.
who coached Les Brown, who coached Bob Proctor, who coached John C. Maxwell,
Mhm.
Paul Martinelli, Christian Simpson. Now you can understand, and he works with the Simon Sinek.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he is my coach too. He's my mentor too. So we have some facilitation side of that training, which he does facilitation with along with us in that training program.
Mhm.
So my point is, we can learn from best of the best in the world.
Exactly. And this is fantastic news. And folks, if you are listening to this, this is amazing. And talking about coach, my coach is Doug McCarthy, who is one of the 1992, I believe, public champion. Been into the public speaking for over 40 years too, and I love his humor. I love his preparation, and I love his chosen words, choosing how he actually intelligently does. And Dr. Faz mentioned some big names, John Maxwell and Rudy. Those are the big names that actually really matter. And if you go through the training, you will be able to know. For now, for this show, I'm going to give you a one simple trick we call press. PRES. P stand. Whenever you wanted to write your content, you wanted to use the P. P stand for point. What you wanted to talk about it. What is the point you wanted to influence, inform, and inspire other people? R stand for reasoning. What is the reason behind for you to talking about this point? And then E stand for example. What is an example of that point that you have recently witnessed? You have a story about it, or you have a statistic about it that you want to talk about it. And S stand for summarize. So once you talk about your point, you give your reasoning, and you have given an example, then you summarize what this point was all about. So then it kind of give you the whole circle back, and that will make a great point. But this program is not only this short version, but a whole lot more, along with examples, along with other people who are doing it different way and different techniques, because there is not one technique, there's many techniques, and Dr. Faz mentioned then they will be able to help you your speech, your presentation in a way that it will be going to this. So now, Dr. Faz, we have prepared the speech, or a presentation. The second part comes in, that how do I present it? And the presentation also comes with definitely a practice. But what do you say about presentation out there?
That's awesome. Let me go just a little back there
Okay.
first, uh, because let me explain you. There are three steps we do in our life all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So these all three ways to communicate are different. For example, we do conversation one
Right.
on one, like we are doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have public speaking, right?
Yeah.
And then we write books. That's also a way to communicate.
Right.
So the writing, in other words, an article or a book, is very formal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Conversation is very informal, but
Right.
public speaking lies in between both. It's not as informal as conversation, but it's not as formal as a book writing.
Wow.
You
What a
have to
noble
keep it,
thought.
yeah. So you have to keep it simple to clear the point, like you said, make a point and give the reason and example so people can understand that. So you tell your story, make a point, and then you make a point or tell the story, either way.
Yeah.
But you have to keep it so simple.
Mm-hmm.
And how you can keep it simple, if you cannot make it simple, in my opinion, it means you don't know your topic.
Mm-hmm. True.
Otherwise, you can make it so simple. Because simple words with a good delivery still convey the powerful message.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you have all the flowery words, but you have a poor delivery, message goes nowhere.
Right.
So keep in mind when we deliver our speech, make sure you make it a little simple in terms of wording. So when you go on stage, you don't have to memorize those flowery language and all that. And once you miss one word and you lose your track and all that, rather than going through all that stress, keep the word simple, but keep your delivery presentable, powerful. And now again, like George Bernard Shaw said, like two people, only 2% people think, and 3% people think they think, and 95% they don't even think. They just want to die. Same time, professor from UCLA who did the research, and he said 8% are only the words,
Yeah.
37% is your tonality,
Yeah.
and 55% of your speech is visual, which is body language.
Mm-hmm.
So the word, they don't count that much. So don't pay too much stress on that. I see a lot of new speakers. I talk to them and they said, "Oh, I can't write my speech. Oh my gosh, how I'm going to write this speech? I'm trying to write my speech for the last 17 days and I can't finish it." I said, "Why you're wasting that much time
Mm-hmm.
in writing that speech just because of the wordings?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a real story?" Yes, we do. So that's your story, of course. Why do you have to write that? Just make sure you deliver it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in this whole training, we are trying to focus on your body language, your tone of voice, which changes everything. But at the same time, I'm not taking away the words. Don't take me wrong.
Still,
Words,
still 7,
oh,
8%.
it's not only 8%, it has sometimes very powerful words. Like you see the codes.
Yeah.
The one code describes your whole life.
Yeah.
So don't take it lightly. But I'm talking about don't overstress yourself just to put those words together. If it can be simple, that's fine. Make sure your delivery has to be perfect. Now, again, you're not going to be perfect in the initial stage or in the beginning. It's okay. It's okay in the training. You don't need to be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're in training. Once you get trained, then we can expect. Now, if I will say Les Brown did this mistake, then people will say, no, he is such a great speaker, how he can be. Or John Maxwell should not be doing it. But Rizwan and me can, because we are still in the training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are not at that level. So obviously you have to start from there and make sure delivery process is the most important, and which needs a lot of rehearse and a lot of you say coaching and mentoring in that part, which we provide in this program.
Fantastic, fantastic. And yeah, folks, Dr. Faz hit a point really, really great one. How do you really look at the words? And I remember coaching one of my client, and they were like wanting to use the word mind mending. And it was such a hard word, even a tongue twister for me. I couldn't even say it in a fluent way, but they were very insistent to use that word. However, it just really have to be a flow in your speech, in your presentation, and will make more sense. Of course, there are some of these lingo, some of the things that you have to include that, but do wanted to really focus on presentation. And this is what Dr. Faz said, that Speakers Club help you get to this. Now, for presentation, I really wanted to talk about only one thing. And one thing for sure, that when you open up, when you start presenting your speech, number one thing is, please don't say good morning, good evening, or hello, everybody. Let me check. Do you have a voice coming? Can you hear me? None of that thing. Just start with a bang. Just start with like a news headline, start like an action movie start, or something that really interrupt the pattern they have seen from the usual one. If you really want to gain attention, if you look at a newspaper, you don't see that they start today this and that. They have a big headline. When you open up the news TV channel, they have a big screen going on a specific news, and then they talk about something after. So you have to grab that attention of the people, whether it's an analogy, a story, a quotation, a statistic, something in there. Some people use that humor sometimes, but only if you can use a humor, because if you are not a comedian, not everybody is, then don't use humor, because they might not really attach with you or connect with you. Now, Dr. Faz, you mentioned about style or owning the stage, and how do you really deliver. What do you mean by delivering in a style?
That's a very good question, Rizwan. Again, most of the time, what happens, let me go back again for one thing.
Yeah.
A lot of time, people wants to become a professional public speaker. There are two different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime when I ask people, are you really want to be a professional public speaker, or you just want to become a famous person? It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be a real professional public speaker,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite different than just becoming a famous personality. So number one, you have to be very clear in your mind where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you just asked me this question, that the style.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, if you are asking me to pay
Mm-hmm.
and come in your event
Mm-hmm.
to hear you, to listen you as a public speaker,
Yeah.
I am paying the price for your speech, not for someone else's. So don't try to imitate someone.
Uh,
Don't try to copy someone. I need your message. I
love
am paying for you. Oh, I want to see what Rizwan got for me in that.
it. Mm.
I don't care Martin Luther King, what did he say? Because I heard it 75 times prior to that.
Yeah.
What Winston Churchill said, what some other great leaders or great orators and great speakers already said. We
Mm-hmm.
know most of them. But my point is what you have for me in that. So make sure you are not speaking to show them how you look like.
Yeah.
You are not speaking what you have in your mind. I
Yeah.
don't care either. I want to see how you think of me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm paying you. So when I come as a professional public speaker, when you want to charge money, you want to make money out of your public speaking, make sure you have a content for someone else, not for yourself.
Uh-huh.
Who's going to pay you?
Golden words, golden, bang on, Dr. Faz. And this is what I have seen most people do, is that they saw or heard Simon Sinek, and they saw heard Les Brown or whoever it is, Tony Robbins, and they wanted to be that, and they can't, because they are there after 40 years of practice, and you have your own tonality, your own words, your own lingo, and you do want to match. You want to be you. And when you being presented yourself with that passion, that really connect and resonate with the people who you really wanted to connect. And this is where it's a passion from within you that connects. It's not all those things that you have learned. Yes, this is a skill. Yes, you know how to pause, you know how to use your tonality, you know how to speak faster, you know how to speak slower. All these are techniques, but you do not want to be an actor trying to copy somebody, but you have to be unique with your voice. It is a powerful advice, Dr. Faz. I'm glad you mentioned. Now, I said the word pause and pitch and projection, and I know, especially in presentation, we really emphasize that. And I only wanted to ask you this pause because I have seen, and I'm sure you have seen in coaching, and people who are out there speaking there, they use and a lot. How do you really use the power of the pause?
Yeah, another good question. But again, let me see any successful speaker or any successful person in this entire world has the same story of their life. They have a
Mhm.
dream, they have a struggle, and they have a success.
Yeah.
Nothing is different. If
Mhm.
you pick up any person in whoever inspires you, he's going to have those three things. He got a dream, he struggled, and he got success.
Mhm.
So do you. You can do that too. So it's the same formula, nothing is changed. But mm, whoever you are, you are. God gave you all the ability which anybody else has in this universe.
Mhm.
You are unique. I mean, can you believe you are in 7.1 billion human beings on this planet? You are the only one which, who you are. Your fingerprint cannot match to anyone.
Allahu Akbar.
So
Yeah.
how do you think that I want to become Rizwan? I want to become this. I want to become that. No, just be yourself. Give
Mhm.
your best version. People would love to hear your story, not my story, not somebody else's story. We all have our own stories. We want to hear your own story and make it a perfectly powerful in that way because it's going to come out of your heart.
Mhm.
So you don't have to imitate anybody. You don't have to copy anyone. You can model anyone, doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be like them, maybe better than them. Who knows down the road?
Yeah.
So now you ask me about the filler words like ahs and
Yeah.
arms and you know. So this is always another because, like again, I said conversation versus the public speaking.
Yeah.
Conversation, we do a lot of filler words
Mhm. Mhm.
because it's very informal. All right. So obviously, it takes a lot of practice and rehearse to get rid of those, and it takes a little while, which you will be.
Mhm.
And taking a pause, pause is the most powerful thing
Yeah.
for a public speaker. You know,
Absolutely.
when you convey a message, when you say a powerful sentence, let them absorb and just shut up.
Mhm.
Give them an opportunity to understand, to receive the message which you want to convey.
Mhm.
So this is most important part of the public speaking is the pause. And take sometime people ask me this question that how long is going to be? I mean, used to be. I said
Yeah.
there is no timing on the pause.
Uh-huh.
As long as you make your audience to think and listen carefully and enjoy if you told a joke, or if you had some humor, or maybe you gave a great message,
Mhm.
inspiring message. Let them absorb it. So it varies time to time. It's
Mhm.
not that every time you have the same pause. No, you won't. So let them understand what you said. So my point is pause is another
Yeah.
speaking technique which you have to learn. It's a learnable skill where to take a real pause rather than filling the words ahs and arms and you know and so because you are distracting people
Mhm.
rather than you just shut up and look at their in their eyes, look at them, nod your head or whatever you want to do with the body language, but without having any voice.
Mm. I call it Dr. Faz the moment of ahs, ums, and so all those are verbalized pause because you know your mind is still thinking. You have to say something, you have to connect the dots, but since the word hasn't populated yet, so in order to keep that audience engaged or thinking that I have to keep saying things, you say those and um so in order to be really, in terms of professional public speaking, we use that, or I teach in my training classes called 4 Ps, like,
Hmm.
how to pitch. What is your tonality? Well, like how louder, how lower your voice will be. That is really key. At some point, that when you're talking about you, like Dr. Faz mentioned, it's not speech about what you think, but how they will see, how they will get inspired, how they will be able to influence. So that would be there. So for that, the pitch comes in when you want to speak louder, when you want to speak the medium and lower, and the pace, faster, slower, and the pause. Pause is the golden key in order to get your point across. When you really give a big point, pause. Let it sink in, like Dr. Foss said, and be able to really project that one. Amazing thing, guys. I'm sure we are giving you a lot of this. This is kind of comes into a big seminars and webinars, and I'm going to share with this within our show. And I'm thankful for Dr. Foss for giving a lot of tips and tricks. And now the last thing is, and I'm sure you already have mentioned this, but I do wanted to go back and ask you about the body language. And now, body language is true. As you have mentioned that the words is about 8%, but there's a lot of things that comes in from your body language. In the virtual world, do you see still the body language works?
Yeah, it is. It's not as like we used to do in person, and when we go physically there,
Mhm.
obviously people can see entire my personality and my body, and
Mhm.
they can see all my movements and all that. Uh, Body language obviously totally depends on the story which you are going through or the speech you are going through. If
Mhm.
it's your own story, your emotions are going to be along with your body language.
Mhm.
Not only tone of the voice, but your emotions.
Yeah.
If you're happy, you look like happy. All right. Your body language is going to be different. Open up. If you are really tied down, if you're sad, it's going to show in your body language. So all these things are very important. And people are so visual. Keep in mind.
Yeah.
People literally they don't listen that much, but they watch you. That's why you see the YouTube is more popular nowadays than any other social media,
Yeah.
because people don't want to read through the book. People don't want to hear from someone. They just want to watch it, how it should be done.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
same thing when they come in your event to listen you as a speaker, they want some visual stuff so
Right.
they can take away.
Uh,
So my point is they can see through you. So keep in mind, first things first, your body language is going to help you unless you're not lying,
True.
because that comes from inside of your heart. So
Yeah.
if somebody is lying, you can see through his body language.
Mhm.
People can see through you. People are not stupid. Don't take it that light.
Mhm.
My point is, if you are telling your story and it's a real story and you are involved in that story, regardless whatever the results of that story were, number one. Number two, so when you're talking truth, your body is going to show that somehow, some way, it's going to show that it's truthful. Then in the virtual, because we have only upper part of our body, but you see most of the things comes through our facial expressions. Most of the stuff comes through our arms, obviously.
Mhm.
So still you are showing major part of your body language even in this virtual background.
Mhm.
Although the movements on the stage like we used to have in the physical, that's not available right now, but hopefully we will be okay after this COVID. But at this point, to get a great presentation, wherever you are doing your presentation, whether at work or in public or wherever, still they are going to watch you. If your eyes are not along with your words and your body language means your arms are not working with that, or your face is not showing the same expression which you are speaking, they will watch you. They will watch you, and they do. So my point is body language still works. Not as like we used to have, but it will be back. Uh, Tone of the voice and body language has to coincide. Your words has to match with that. So all these three things have to go in a sequence. Otherwise, you will lose your
Yeah.
audiences because they will start looking at their cell phones.
Absolutely. Like, you mentioned UCLA Professor Abraham, who talked about that 55% of the meaning comes from your what people see, and this is truly, especially in virtual world and real world. For example, if you want to say it was so big, so your hands will
Mhm.
show how big. It was so far. It was on my right hand side. You have to move your body in order to really reflect, and especially your within this one, like within this 12 feet 12 inches, you will be able to see, and people can really absorb if you're in pain or if you're happy, if you are excited, whatever thing is, people will be able to see. Once they see that body really emits that energy, that become contagious, and your energy become contagious with your participant, and then how you will be able to connect with them. But I love this, your words. Your body shows truth of words. That is so powerful. And once you're able to see, like we do teach on the how to own the stage, how to walk the stage, how to make a point. Even in virtual, your body, your hand gesture is actually reflecting that you're passionate about. You're talking with your hands, but you really want to reflect that it's a repeat process. I really confirm this is the one point. If you're talking about that, people will know it is, and as Dr. Faz, that visual becomes really part of them, and it's actually your I would say that connectivity, your audience will really connect with you when you are reflecting who you are, what you're talking about it. Dr. Faz, we are going to the end of the our session, but I do wanted to ask you one brief thing about how do we engage the audience, whether it is virtual or in presence. The engagement comes in. So we talk about the fear, we talk about preparation, we talk about how to present, and in presentation we talk a lot of things about it. But there's one thing what we really teach, and you have a lot of knowledge and practice, and you teach people how to engage the audience.
Yeah, like I said, first of all, if you keep it simple, people will listen carefully, number
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the same time, uh, don't go through your speech, whichever you wrote. Doesn't matter anything because they
Yeah.
don't know what you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is you see, are they listening you?
Uh-huh.
Are they with you? And you have to check it periodically. If you have a 45-minute keynote speech, so every 6 to 7 minutes, at least every 6 to 7 minutes, you have to do something where you can get their attention back in case if somebody is missing something. For
Mm-hmm.
example, you can ask a question,
Mm-hmm.
ask raise hand,
Yeah.
or say, look at your right side and tell him we are learning something.
Yeah.
And then look at your left and say you need to. Just make some fun, some humor, something, or ask them to repeat something after you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, some sentence powerful, some prayer even,
Yeah.
and say, repeat after me. So you're getting them involved. And
Yeah.
even if somebody is missing something, he comes back and he or she comes back. So you have to keep, because this is your responsibility. The major part of the communication is not on them, it's on you.
Uh-huh.
You are the in charge right now. You have to take the major responsibility of keeping them engaged, not they have to keep themselves, because we all are human beings. We have all our personal stuff in our mind. We have so many situational environmental stuff in our mind. We have families, we have other stuff, COVID. So as a speaker, because when you are a speaker, first of all, keep in mind, when you are on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
if you are a public speaker, it means you are a leader.
Ah.
So leader has to take the responsibility, not the follower.
Yeah.
So once you are a leader, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Same thing, public speaking is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If in your public speaking you're not influencing people, means you're just taking a walk.
Yeah.
You're wasting somebody's time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to influence them, and when you want to influence them, you have to keep them engaged by doing certain things. So sometime I ask question, sometime I tell them to repeat after me. Sometime I say a powerful code or something, and then say, "What do you think?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And then people, yeah, so just keep them engaged. So it again, 45 minutes is a long time to keep somebody's attention without getting them in your line. So you have to get them as a leader. You have to do something extraordinary which gets back people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make it interesting, make
Yeah.
it simple, make it interesting. You have to have some interesting things in your speech. You have to have a little humor in your speech. You cannot just speak flatly, sober talks.
Yeah.
Don't Nobody wants to hear that, believe me or not. I
Yeah.
get bored in 2 minutes. Even if I turn on my YouTube video and I say, I don't want to listen to this guy, and I had to get somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
my point is, you have to keep them engaged, make it simple, make it humorous, make it interesting, and tell something which is interesting for them, not for yourself.
Beautiful. If I sum it up, this is amazing. Rhetorical questions really connect with the audience. When you ask a question, they will be able to ask. And Dr. Faz has repeatedly mentioned that it is you are the leader. You need to influence. If people come to hear you, how they came and how they left, if they're about the same, you wasted your time and there. If they left with something to do, they are inspired, they're influenced by you to do something different based on your talk, you're a winner. And that's how you will be able to win, and that's how you will get paid, and that's how you will be recognized, and that's how you will get more influence with people. So in order to be a rhetorical question, when you're talking about your story, you have to be authentic and let people walk in, be vulnerable, let people walk in. Some people use activities, some people walk into the audience, some people use those audience as their subject in order to involve them in a story. Whatever the case may be, the engagement parts come in biggest. And now I'm going to go back onto Dr. Foss to explain one more time how the Speakers Club is going to help you in this part as well. Dr. Foss?
Yeah, this is also one of, like I said, we have 26 different steps,
Mm-hmm.
and all these are part of those 26 steps, regardless. I mean, we go from before even you start thinking to become a public speaker, and it starts from there, the whole training, and then you go in training, and then you start learning how to open my speech, and then how to do the body of the speech, and then how to do the closing of the speech. These are common steps which everybody wants to know. But
Mm-hmm.
in the same time, in those processes, what are the things which you have to keep your eyes on?
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to become not a public speaker, like I mentioned you earlier. You don't want to be just a professional speaker either. You don't want to become a school teacher or like that. They speak too, and they get paid for it. But do you think they are impressive? Most of them are not. You don't want to be like them. You want to become a world class. So world class needs a world class little bit more efforts, which
Yeah.
are not hard, which are not rocket science to learn, but which are basically those things to keep your eyes on. And that's what we do. We keep you on the track. We go one step at a time so you can practice it and you can learn better. And then we can discuss other stuff. And if you are going through any challenge, we can mentor you. Like I said, we have a coaches and mentors with our group who can. So that whole process is going to be involved in those 26 steps. So like you said, the last part of that, like body language or anything you name it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we will talk about how these people, they become world champions. How uh, I know, honestly, a couple of my friends are world champion of public speaking, and you do too.
Yeah.
And we spoke with them, and we learned a lot of things out of them. But there are a couple those world champion of public speaking, they just became world champion and they're done.
Yeah.
Nobody knows them
Yeah.
because a 5 to 7 minute speech doesn't pay you.
Right.
So
Right.
they got a good trophy, they got a big name, but still they are not world class public speaker
Mm-hmm.
being paid for. So this is a little two different things. Uh, but yes, we will go through those 26 steps. You can join at any time
Mm-hmm.
and continue your journey. And you can,
So,
I mean,
Dr. Faz, it's almost 6 month commitment, and last time you mentioned it's about $100.
yeah, that was my offer because through your show that we usually ask like $20 a month fee. But if somebody pays like 6 months, so we will knock off $20, so it's only $100. Or a lot of people, I mean, I have so many people they sign up for a whole year because
Mm-hmm.
it's not about learning that. Again,
It's
it's a
practice.
skill. If you don't practice it, you get rusted so quick too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can tell you a lot of great speakers, but they didn't speak for last 7 years.
Yeah.
Now they stand up. I mean, you will see. I mean, they won't be like whatever you heard in the past. I mean, they will be a lot different because they got trusted. So a lot of time people want to just rehearse and practice and be in that environment. So learning environment, so they don't lose the track in
Mm-hmm.
case.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they love it because it's a great place to be with like-minded people too.
Absolutely.
Because they
Absolutely.
all are, and also it's a great place to get referrals from each other because they all are professional speakers. And
Mm.
you know, as a public speaker, Rizwan, and I know, and most of the people who are listening us, and if they are public speaker, they understand that public speaker, you will not be invited at the same place so many times.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two times, and after that, they are going to look for a new speaker.
Yeah.
So you can refer those each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I will refer, okay, Rizwan is a great speaker. Why you won't invite him? Same thing, Rizwan gave my name to someone else. So that's how we get more referrals. I always get referrals from my colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
They are the best source for me.
So it's
And
kind
that's
of
the,
a win-win situation from.
of course, yeah. And that's the best place to be because these all are professional public speakers. So they know they did last year their event and now they need a new speaker. They are going to refer you.
Mhm.
Same thing you did from someone, you will ask somebody else to go there.
Mhm.
So you get a good referral network there.
Mhm.
That's why.
And folks, if you are listening, if you are a student in a university, you're doing a presentation, you need to be having a professional public speaking, the way how to we really prepare, present, using the body language, using the tonality, using the words pause, and how to own and engage this the audience. And this will help you, whether you're a professional, you are in your marketing or sales or management style. How do you really connect with your audience, with your staff? Or if you're entrepreneur business owners, and how do you really want to go out and present your product services to the inside or the outside clients? How do you engage them? How do you connect with them? This will help you. It's about 6 months, about 26 weeks. And Dr. Faz mentioned throughout this, you will be given a lot of strategies, a lot of techniques in order to upskill, take it to the next level, that skill. And this is important. The whole purpose of this program was to give you a little bit ideas to get you started. But if you wanted to join and really take up the notch, you must join Dr. Faz. Dr. Faz, they can connect with you on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram, YouTube, Dr.
Yes.
Faz, drfuzzle.com.
Yes.
drfuzzle.com is the website. You will see on the script, folks. I really want everybody, especially from Southeast Asia, people who from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, who are in really in North America, wanting to upskill, wanting to really connect with the audience. This is an amazing thing in order to upskill your public speaking, because that's how you will be moving to the next level. Dr. Faz, thank you so much for your time today. I really,
I
really
appreciate it.
enjoyed all your amazing golden nuggets today. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. And I will say just the last couple words that this public speaking increases your influence in every situation. Keep in mind,
Mm-hmm.
whether you are a student, you are working somewhere, it pays you off. If
Mm-hmm.
you are working in a corporation and if you are a good presenter, chances are you're going to get the promotion first. You're going to
Yeah.
get the raise first.
Yeah.
If you are a good presenter as a student right now, chances are you will be knocking off in upcoming interviews for your job. So wherever you are, if you are just managing your family and if you are a good communicator and you are a good speaker, you will see the changes in your family. So everywhere in all the situation is going to increase your influence. So it's the only and only, I say, mother of all the skills which you have to learn and which you have to master it. And it's so learnable. Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Thank you so much, Dr. Faz. If you're looking in order to upscale the public speaking, whether you're speaking public, it's an opportunity to inform, influence, inspire for people in order to creating a change, facilitating a change in this world, whether they know it or not, because you are changing people's belief. Therefore, you are changing the way they think. When you change the way they think, they might change the way they feel. If they change the way they feel, you know what happened? They're going to change their decision. They're going to act on the decision on daily basis. And when they act on those decisions, when they alter this their mentality, the results they're looking is will be the fantastic one. And this is what you're looking for as a professional public speaker. As you're looking to have that need as a public speaker, as you have presentation, as you have product or services, everything will come in. So not just importing information, but really making a true impact. You are watching London Living with Rizwan Rashid. This was a soft skill development program offered by Dr. Faz and Rizwan Rashid. We'd love to have your feedback. Keep watching London Living with Rizwan Rashid. Until next time, have a good night.